Hey everybody, this is a clip from the episode where John turns into James Baldwin and decides to tell it on the mountain. And by it, I mean all of my personal business that I told to him in confidence. We talk about my stance on ketchup and storing other condiments, my stance on cats and dogs, and leaving the toilet seat up and then wrapping it up on my stance on the Deacons. Buckle up, have fun, comment, and enjoy.
You brought up something interesting that caught my attention just now, and you rarely do that. There's no catching my attention saying something.
What about this flower that I have on? That caught, hello.
Yeah, for reasons you don't want to know.
Whatever, John.
You talked about ketchup on your
eggs. Yes, I put it on a lot of things.
I read an article today that actually Heinz is rebranding their ketchup so that individuals know that it is now a breakfast food item. And because you just said that you put ketchup on your eggs, obviously they're thinking about people who have bad taste like you. And so you should know now that Heinz is actually marketing their ketchup to individuals like you who have bad taste in terms of where you and how you allocate your condiments.
I wouldn't eat a breakfast taco without hot sauce and ketchup. No. I've always had ketchup on my eggs. They're like behind the times. Old new. Move on.
It'd be behind the times when they literally are the number one brand in terms of ketchup and condiments.
Everybody does that. Everybody puts ketchup on their eggs.
No, everyone.
Revelation.
No, everyone doesn't. You do. You're a messy eater. So,
what does that have to do with anything?
So speaking of ketchup, this is something that just popped in my mind. I grew up in a household where the ketchup was in the fridge. But there are people who have ketchup that's on the table. How did you grow?
In the refrigerator.
So if you went to someone's house and they had ketchup on the table and they had mustard on the table and mayonnaise on the table, would you think differently?
Mayonnaise.
But when you go to a restaurant, the mayonnaise is on the table.
Again, that's the buffet that you went to. Mayonnaise on just raw mayonnaise out on the table. Do you have your poopery ready? Because I've got this mayonnaise that's been sitting out here for 2 days.
No, but when you go to a diner, they put mayonnaise on the table.
That instant. They don't keep it out there.
How do you know this?
That's unsanitary, John.
How do you know this?
You get a 4, a negative rating on the restaurant thing. No, you can't do that.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, fine.
I believe that they keep the mayonnaise, the ketchup.
They don't put real mayonnaise. Do you understand science?
I understand science, yes, but I was an English major, but I do understand science.
You don't leave mayonnaise out. Okay. I think I've ever been to someone's house where the ketchup's out. Yes, to a restaurant that the ketchup is out. I don't know how long they keep it out. Ketchup, mustard, sure. Mayonnaise, absolutely not. I'm not eating that.
Okay, so this reminds me of another story I was having with my brother-in-law last couple of weeks ago. And he was talking about going to his son's baby shower. And this was another family. He and my sister had gone to the baby shower. And these people had apparently made some meals and they invited them in as a family because they were getting ready to become, grandparents or whatever. And so my brother-in-law said they brought out this food and he looked at them like, I'm not going to eat the food because I don't just eat anyone's cooking. And I'm that way. I'm very particular about people's cooking and what it is and how it is that it may be prepared.
But you go to a buffet. Interesting. Carry on. Wayward son.
You strike me as an individual who would just eat anyone's cooking.
I don't eat anyone's cooking. At work, I had a Tale of Two Cities little list. And so I would write down on the list anyone that said they had a cat, they're on my list. Anyone that went to the bathroom and they didn't wash their hands, they're on my list. So when we had a potluck, I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I won't be eating that. I'm not eating that. So no, I don't eat just anyone's cooking. And I know I'm going to offend the cat people, but those cats just jump up on the counter with their little cat fur. And I'm like, no.
But you have a dog.
My dog can't jump on the countertop and I'm not cooking on the floor.
Dog, we're talking about animals and you're talking about sanitary.
But my dog is not on top of the counter walking around with his doggy fur. Yes, they are. I saw it.
You saw it in Oklahoma. You didn't see it anyplace else.
People that don't wash their hands after the bathroom. Because if I'm in the bathroom, they're in the bathroom, and I like to take note of their shoes. And if they just walk immediately,
take note of their shoes. So you look at people's shoes in the bathroom.
Eating anybody's food, John. We need to have a list.
You look at people's shoes when they're in the bathroom to see if they wash their hands.
Absolutely, I'm not the only one.
You literally are.
I'm not the only one.
You literally are. So if they walk by,
People come to me.
so that I get this straight, you look at people's shoes to make certain that they stop at the sink to wash their hands.
And they need to wash their hands for a good night. We need a happy birthday song. You just can't, well, I'm out of here. No, you're done. You're on my list.
That silence that you hear is, again, me allowing your crazy to shine through so that everyone can see that you are crazy.
I rarely get sick, sir.
No, because you're busy making everyone else sick. And I know that you also have this thing about, obviously, the potpourri, excuse me, and then you have the issue with toilet seats.
Mm-hmm.
Toilet seats being either up when flushing occurs, because you believe that that can contaminate the bathroom.
It does. If you let's just say that you're in a hotel and you don't have a separate space for your toilet, right? You flush, fecal matter flies all over the place. Do you think that I want that on my toothbrush? No, I don't. So just close it. It's just rude. And also, I didn't think about this, but somebody said, because they came to my house and they kept leaving the toilet seat up. And I was like, okay, so you should model whatever's happening in the house. Like I don't allow shoes in my house. So take the shoes off and I will give you slippers. Like everyone that comes as a guest, you get slippers. If I keep the toilet seat down, keep the toilet seat down. And so this person kept doing, so I just gave them a gentle reminder of a text message with an article linking out to why you should keep the toilet seat down. They didn't read it. They thought that it was because I thought a snake would come up in there. And I said, oh my God, I didn't even think about it.
No wonder no one goes to your house. You giving people text messages about cleaning.
Everybody knows it's gross. Don't do that. It travels and it stays in the air for a long period of time. Just shut the toilet seat down and keep it down because apparently a snake can come up next. If I go into the bathroom in the middle of the night and the toilet seat is up, somebody's getting up too. I know I didn't do it.
I can see that. I can see, yes, with respect to the toilet seat being up or toilet seat being down, that aspect. What I don't understand is the toilet seat being down, as you indicated in previous conversations, when an individual is flushing the toilet. I don't get that. But
I've never heard of this.
No, I've never heard of it.
So you just have fecal matter all over your toothbrush?
No, my toothbrush is covered, thank you. So no, there's not fecal matter.
But you have fecal matter all over everything else? Just
no,
all over
because the toilet is in a separate place and it's cordoned off with a door.
But if you were in a hotel room, would you do it?
Would I what?
Would you leave the toilet seat up and then flush? Because that's not, usually it's right there next to the shower, depending on where you're staying.
You know what? I never thought about that. I'm pretty sure I have.
Yeah, it's just gross. I mean, that's you. It's okay. We've already established you're a C player, so that's fine. It's good. I love having diverse friends. Like we have friends that, know things, friends that learn things, and people that do things that are disgusting. It's okay. I love all of you. You're my friend. Diversity is great.
Speaking of friends, I wanted to bring up some comments that we received on last episode. And part of it was individuals taking you to task about a couple of things. I know that you had, and some agreeing with you, full disclosure, some did agree with you, rarely. You did have some individuals appreciate your dry sense of humor and your unique take on some things. So what were some of the comments that stood out to you with respect to the previous episode?
The comments were amazing. Like if you haven't gone in and listened and engaged with the community, you should, because there've been some very thoughtful, thought-provoking comments. I have one in particular that I want to save for last, but there was one about my praying over pancakes. And so people were not keen on that. Someone had put in there about spirituality being the highest form of intimacy. And it really made me think about it. And I think that one of the reasons why I feel that that's pretentious and potentially over the top is because I hold spirituality as the highest form of intimacy. And so for you to disclose that on a first date, I just feel like it's too soon. It would be like me sleeping with you and you're like, I love you. You lust me. You do not love me. You lust me. It's too soon. But that's me, because how I prioritize my spiritual, I wouldn't share my soul and my spirit with anyone because my spirituality is so personal to me. It's a very personal experience for me. So I thought that was interesting, and it helped me to really reframe why I thought that you praying over the pancakes on the first day is going to lead to you being the Dateline killer. You probably still are, but whatever.
Yeah, I totally disagree with that. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I think that you just talked about earlier was individuals being authentic. and bringing your authentic self to the table when you're having interactions with folks. I consider prayer to be the ultimate in terms of an individual being who they are, who they are, and saying that I'm not going to change who I am and how I show up with respect to receiving a meal or my daily activities to conform to make you feel comfortable. So that's how I look at it. If I'm Muslim or someone who prays X number of times a day, I'm someone who's spiritual or religious and decide that before I partake of a meal, I'm going to pray, or before I do something, I'm going to pray. And that's making you feel uncomfortable. It's not about them, it's about you.
That is correct. And I'm pretty sure I said it was about me.
Yeah. So
like most things in my life.
So from that standpoint, I think that people who do that are bringing who they are, and there's take me for who I am. I'm not going to conform to make you feel better about what issue you may have with respect to religion or spirituality.
I think that's a fair point. I appreciate you articulating that. I will still put it into that might be a signed column, but I take your point on that.
Well, you know what? There's not an episode that goes by where you're not taking my point on something on most of this stuff. But with respect to spirituality and religion, I do agree with you that if someone is going to be giving a full-blown sermon before partaking of a meal, then that's a red flag.
Or they bring out a Bible and place it on the table and tell me that I'm going to hell.
That is a little too much and a little too extra, because I found in my experience that the individuals who are over the top religious and spiritual are out there doing the most dirt. Have to be, to be cognizant of that. And I know you have issues with deacons.
Deacon.
What is your issue with deacons?
Hi, sister. Lynn's sister wants to hear the word. She doesn't want to feel your eyes on her. Deacons are always doing something.
What did you do to deacons? You did something to the deacons to make.
Deacons are doing it.
Deacons have forever been part of the backbone of the church, and here you are offending the deacons.
I can't believe you brought up the deacons. That's a private conversation. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Because you have issues with deacons?
I do have issues. I do. The deacon is probably the date link. Now I'm really going to get in trouble.
No, talk to us. This is a safe space. What did the deacons do?
Saying that when you're in church and you're just trying to hear the word, and the deacons are like, hey, Sister Beth. No, Sister doesn't want to hear this.
So the deacons is shooting their shot. What do you have with the deacons shooting their shot?
You cannot in this church, sir. Absolutely not. Just do your deacon duties, whatever that is.
Deacon is taking advantage of the opportunity that presented itself.
Do your job, deacon. I'm not your job.
He's trying to bring a soul to Christ.
He's trying to bring something to somebody, having Christ's name called out in vain. I'm sure he's doing something. Not over here, sir.
So you're blocking your blessing. Deacon could have been the one that can bring you closer to Christ.
I bring him closer to Christ. That's what he's hoping.
Pray for her family. Pray for her because she needs help. As always, guys, thank you for spending time with us. We know that you have a lot that you could be doing, a lot of things that you could be focused on, and a lot of things that you could be spending your time on. You don't have to listen, but we're glad you did. And as always, take some time today to do something nice for yourself. And while you're at it, do something nice for someone else. Until next time, we'll talk.
Well, thanks for joining us for another lively discussion. This podcast is a production of the SME Media Group, LLC. All rights are reserved. If you like this episode, click on the link in the right-hand corner and check out additional content. Also, be sure to subscribe to the I Take Your Point podcast to ensure you're getting all of your content. Until next time, take care and be well.